I've got 5 minutes, so I'm going to do something I don't usually do, which is share my feelings and talk to you a little bit about my own experience in sort of building a startup of one. So the other way of thinking about this, if you've read the book The Hard Thing About Hard Things, is a lot of that has to do with how you build and scale a business. These kinds of problems still exist when you are less than 5 people. And this was something that I kind of didn't anticipate until I got really into it. So this is The Hard Thing About Hard Things, Sole Proprietor Edition. I run this company. We are a product strategy and brand strategy company. We do a lot of market research in order to support that. And so I am frequently consulting with clients and advising them on how to make decisions, ultimately, how to develop a strategy and then how to develop a plan to execute on that strategy. So you'd think that I knew a lot about how to do that and would have automatically done that for myself in starting my own business. But you and I would be wrong. So in 2012, I'd been freelancing for a couple of years, and I decided of all the many things that I could do in 2012, the thing I was really going to do was, I'm going to grow my business. And so, of course, the first thing you do if you want to grow your business is you go register your business name at the county clerk's office, and then, job done. So that was pretty much all that I did in terms of creating a plan. I came up with a name, I registered it, now I've got a business, this thing's just going to grow on its own, obviously. Didn't really work that way. I did have 12 years of experience in the industry. I had been working as a strategist and a researcher. I knew who the clients were. I knew where the budgets lived. I knew how to reach them. I knew kind of what sorts of things I knew how to do. I'd been running departments. I knew how to manage people. So you'd think that over the course of many years and many haircuts, I would have discovered enough about how to run this business and grow it. And I also, therefore, had a lot of tactics that I could employ because I knew all of these things just up here in my head. But the thing about having a lot of tactics is that tactic is just, in some respects, another word for task. And when you have a lot of tactics, you have a lot of tasks. If you have a lot of tasks, you have a lot of lists. My lists started to take over entire walls of Post-it notes. When the Post-it notes started to become unwieldy, I started color-coding the Post-it notes, and then I started adding gold stars to the really important ones. And then when that became unwieldy, I tried first Asana, and then Trello, and then integrating Trello with Slack, and then back to the Post-it notes, but this time bigger ones. And somehow none of this really seemed to add up to much. I mean, I had a lot of work coming in, but I was mostly stressed out. What really kind of came to my mind was, wait a second, the thing I'm missing here is a strategy. And if you are wondering, the definition of a strategy is a plan of action to achieve a major goal. So I had the major goal, I'm going to grow my business, but I did not have this plan of action thing. No, didn't have that. So I made 3 key mistakes. The truth is I made many, many more than that, but I have 1 minute and 43 seconds left, so I'm not going to go through them all. But the 3 key mistakes I want to share with you, I think, are common to service and product businesses as they grow. The first one was I did not really define my positioning and offering. Instead, I decided that it would just sort of happen to me, that I would discover it as we went along. And the problem with that is twofold. One is I was effectively letting my clients dictate what my business was. Whatever they asked me to do, I did. Which wasn't really why I set out to work for myself. If I wanted to do whatever clients asked me to do, I'd have stayed working in my business before. The other thing about that, though, was that it made it very difficult to manage resources. If I think that the kinds of work I'm getting are X and I've got people to help me do X, but I'm really getting a lot of Y, then I have all the wrong resources in play, and it becomes very unwieldy and hard to manage. The second mistake was that I did not develop a true business model. I didn't really commit to one. I did have a cost sheet, but that's not the same thing. So I sort of knew about what a project would cost, about what a task would run a client, but I didn't really know how I was going to manage revenue and manage deal flow and go after the right kinds of projects and the right kinds of clients to maintain a kind of steady flow of income. And the reason that that mattered is that the other thing I didn't do was follow very good advice, much like Alice in Wonderland. A boss that I had told me that the thing that I really needed to do was hire someone who could either double the deal flow, double the inbound work, or double my capacity to execute that work. So the first half of 2014, I hired someone who was brilliant, but didn't do either of those things. And at the second half, I hired someone who was lovely, but could only double my capacity on some stuff. As a result, I found myself going, wait a second, I'm a strategist and I don't have a strategy. So the things that are important in order to do this well are visualize the desired outcome, write it down, be specific and accountable, describe how you're going to get there, this is the strategy, and then start developing a plan. But a plan is only as good as two things: the commitments you're going to make, what you're going to invest in, and the sacrifices you're going to make, what you're going to kill, starve, or give away. These are the really important lessons that I've learned along the way, and I hope they're helpful for you. Thanks very much.